Namaste! Grand Rising, Big Cat. Welcome or welcome back to Frequency Phoenix 555 for your message or massages. Come in! Come on! I've got intel. Recon is afoot. Energies. Up, Big Cat. I insist. May your comings and goings be forever covered by the grace of the Most High. When in doubt, go within. Just waiting for the... Oh, it's just gone out, the notifications as the Big Cats assemble, darling dears. Big Cat wave. Let's dive in, darling dears. Why? I had to come live and talk to you guys, talk to you up close and personal, yeah? Because God killed connections, darling dears, connections. So they didn't kill you. For some, it was a job. Living in an area, removing yourself from toxic family members, an abusive relationship. Those relationships that you had to what? Leave behind, darling dears. You had to drop it like a dirty shirt. They talking about you, darling dears. Why? Because they've lost the privilege, not even privilege to talk to you, darling dears. You are rare and valuable, and they know that now. Now that you're gone, yeah, Speedy Gonzales, Riba, andale. You have to realize, right? Some of them are so proper, pressed, pumped, and perturbed about where you are in life compared to where they envision you to be, darling dears. They're upset. They're upset that their bubble, darling dears, is forever burst. Why? They're too focused on what you got going on after that connection was killed. It's dead dodo, dead blood. Dead, finished. And the caveat of that is that you didn't stay where they left you or you left them, darling dears. You decided that you wasn't going to be a figurine. Nope. Not on the shelf for no one, blood. Why? You chose to love on you, darling dears. You chose to learn you from the inside out. Many of you got a hold of your birth natal chart. Some of you through spiritual inspiration, darling dears, insights, dreams, meditation, whatever you did, darling dears, you did that shiznai like a boss. They did not treat you. They never treated you as though you ever measured up, darling dears. They was always looking for something better. But something better usually is what? The mirror image of them, how they truly are. They often overlooked you, reject you. Now they see you thriving and moving on. From them, listen, your code word is what? Ibex. And that's right. They don't like it, darling dears. They, as I said, they wanted you in figurine mode. Forever dusty and on a shelf, darling dears. Waiting like your name is Pick Me. They will never, ever truly come to you with a real apology, darling dears. If they're saying sorry, they're saying sorry for selfish reasons, darling dears. And their sorry will come with, don't ask me any questions because you're bringing up the past. What do you mean? They're front tabbers, darling dears. They get no S. If they tabbed you in your heart chakra, they're a front tabber. You had to learn to never, ever expect any form of respect from those that doubted you, darling dears. Especially if you're in a position where you are seen, where other people are loving you for your strengths, for your wisdom, your guidance, your skills, your talents, your charisma. Yeah, that's right. They're hating on your charisma. Good luck with that, mate. Because Big Cat is full of it. Charisma, that is. Let's dive in, darling dears, and unpack and see what's going on with these marauders. It's a good shufti. Good golly gosh, darling dears. You've got the double two, the double two. You have the energy of a 4. We'll unpack that in a moment. But your head and body is in 2 different places, darling dears. I know, bestie. I know. Oh my God. Every time I start a live, these progenies always text me because they're on their holidays, school and college holidays. They think I'm always on hand. I'm not. Listen. Oh, wait. Anyhow. You are in the 3 and the 8. Your body's in the 3. So this is air energy. You may even live in a direction of the east, or will be traveling to the east, darling dears. Or something of the east or Asian persuasion is coming in your situation, or you could be of the Asian persuasion. The energy of the 3, darling dears, tells me that the community that you are building around you, darling dears, is true soul tribe. And it's also about enjoying the family that you've created. If it's family members that you left behind, listen, they was just your means of getting here, blood. You didn't have to stay with them. And you realize that. Why? Because, listen, you had to create a halocene, different salt levels, blood. Your head, darling dears, your head is grounded in wisdom, self-knowledge, darling dears. It also speaks about rest and recuperation. You've rested and recuperated, or maybe somebody's going to the east to rest and recuperate for a quick vacay, eh? All right. Let's drop down and get our eagle on, darling dears, as we unpack the double 2. So first of all, darling dears, the energy of the 2 speaks about travel. You are going to be traveling in the not too distant future. Love it. I don't hate it. It also speaks about compliments, darling dears, business contracts, things that you have on the tableau or in the back burner, darling dears. They're about to what? Turn in your favor. Remember, I told you that. The compliments, the gifts, the helping hands. We have the energy of the 10 on top. It also speaks about what? You having ended a cycle. On the sides, we've got the energy of a 10. So this 10, it speaks about breakthrough. So something new is about to change in your life. Why? Because of the trajectory you're on, darling dears. Because maybe you are not sure-footed, but your feet are going forwards, never backwards. In the words of Abraham Lincoln. The energy of the 2 goes up, double 2 goes to a 4. So this is going to be a 4 reading. The energy of the 4 is ruled by Uranus, darling dears, the planet of sudden change. It speaks about your individualism. You wasn't born to fit in, darling dears. You was meant to break the mold and show them how it's done. Remember, I told you that. It also speaks about the internet, because Uranus rules the internet. It rules things online, darling dears. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Aquarius is the 11th house, and the 11th house comes with that big L. No, not a loss, darling dears. What's the matter with you? I told you we're on the sunny side of the street. Not a loss. It brings luck. Yeah, luck for you, darling dears. It also speaks about siblings, maybe older siblings that are what focused on you, technology, watching you online, seeing that you truly are futuristic thinking, darling dears. The 11th house also is the house of business contracts. I already said, if you are in the business field, darling dears, looking for upgrade, promotion, business contract could be a business loan. It could be approval of something, darling dears. It could also be going into business school, whatever it is, darling dears. Whatever you done did, you adopted it like a boss. All eyes are looking on you, trying to see exactly how you're making your money, but I digress. Your life path could be a 4, or you could be a 22, darling dears. The number 4, 13, 22, or 31. The number 4 is represented by the letters D, M, V. Uranus, as I said, rules Aquarius and is represented by the letters D, M, and T. The number 4 also rules the South Node, darling dears. And as you already know, the South Node is about the capabilities that you are developing, darling dears. Your future self, the persona that you're about to step in if you continue on this what? Forward thinking, futuristic thinking, forward movement, this trajectory you find yourself on, darling dears. Many of you are at a crossroads because maybe you haven't seen the fruits of your labor. Well, guess what? Keep going regardless, darling dears. Going back to what was. Listen, that's yesterday's newspaper, darling dears. Who remember that? She's naive. Fist bump. As I was saying, the energy of the 4, you are a natural organizer, and divine is cautioning you to be what? A strategist. This is you what? Playing chess, not playing checkers, not chess. I nearly said it back to front. Somebody's playing chess. What's the matter? Oh, hey. I digress. Don't let me, oi, I've got, you're like, I'm talking to I, myself, and me. There's an argument going on here, right? I don't know, oi. Anyhow, as I was saying, your luckiest numbers over the next few days will be the 3, 6, and 9. And again, the key, as Tesla said, to the universe. Maybe you are using a 3, 6, 9 manifestation. Yeah. Writing down something 3 times a day, then doing it 6, and then doing it the 9. Best time to start something on the 3, 6, 9 would be on a new moon. The next new moon will be in Gemini on the 6th of June. I've already put out my comprehensive read, darling dears, of how it will affect your sun, moon, and rising sign. Your luckiest days will be Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Numbers for you to avoid will be 1, 3, 5, and 9. The number 4 is represented by the astrological aspect of a square, darling dears. This is extremely powerful. Why? It creates conflict, frustration, but it also creates new structure. It brings on true change, darling dears. You may feel, as I said, you may feel as though you are at impasse, darling dears, but you have to remember you are in the holding cell for whatever it is that you've been working towards. Remember, I told you that. As I was saying, organization is key at this moment in time. Organization, making sure that your living space is organized, darling dears. If you have a plan, write that shiznai down, speak it into existence, burn it under the moon of the light of the new moon. Gemini is for communication, darling dears. It's for expression. Whether you are, it's also the house of, oh my gosh, your siblings, ground transportation, darling dears, boats. Okay, somebody's got asthma. Okay, moving on. Come on, Case, get back on it. The energy of the master number 22 tells me that you are a natural builder, darling dears, a provider, a teacher, as well as what? You're going to be in a position to be a communicator, a powerful communicator, darling dears. Because why? You learned how to improve from what? Mistakes, which are not mistakes once you learn the lesson, darling dears. You learn not to repeat and turn back. Why? You are not Lot's wife, Salt Bay. If you have a business, darling dears, you're going to want to, your creation is going to step up, darling dears. You're going to be creating new things. Why? You are being divinely guided at this moment in time. God didn't separate you from that wickedness for you to be out there alone. No, you have purpose, and you will soon see what your mission is as it continues to unfold, darling dears. Pay attention to your intuition and your discernment. Okay. All right. So the energy of Uranus, darling, is again, you are eccentric, or maybe they're seeing you as being eccentric. And again, it's about rebellion. You rebelled against the norm, darling dears. You are going your own way. Individualism as well as humanitarianism. Well, that goes with being what? A big cat, darling dears. You care about others, but you understood the assignment. Not everybody is allowed to be privy to that inner circle of caring, darling dears. The more you know yourself, darling dears, the less company you will keep. Remember, I told you that. All right, let's press on. So we have the energy of Uranus as well as the number 4. We also have the 2. So we're going to be speaking about the second house. The second house is about your Skrilla.com, darling dears. It's also going to touch on the past. The 4th house is your roots, your home, your family, your traditions, the past. It could also speak into what? Real estate, darling dears. Somebody possibly even acquiring some form of property, a business, darling dears. You could also be starting a website. It's all about that, darling dears. Creating a new level of security. And again, it's going to touch on your early foundation. Good golly and gosh, the past and your early foundation from the 2 to the 4. Remember, I told you that. All right, let's press on. We're going to get the energy of the planet. I'm trying to move swiftly. Okay, Uranus. And again, good golly and gosh, coming through with a solid 9. Fruition, having ended out a cycle, but it also speaks about the attainment of something that you truly deserve, something that you've been working towards. The energy of the 9 is ruled by Scorpio as well as, oh my gosh, Scorpio as well as Aries energy, darling dears, Mars. Okay, Mars is the planet of action. It's also telling me that you are an initiator, darling dears. But it also speaks about you are quite capable of being what? Violent, darling dears. Oi, we don't do violence. I told you it's rich white lady season. We get a team. Oi. Hey, but if you get into some, if you're going to end up in court, know this. I'll be watching. right? And I'll be the one shouting from behind the fence where you're not handcuffed, darling dears, saying, well, I did tell you, no violence. There's more than one way to win the race. And Big Cat always wins when they choose to what? Walk the path of their own success, darling dears. Love it. I don't hate it. Okay. No, this thing won't go on. There's something. Listen, the devil is a liar. All right. Let's get some oracle ancestral message around this, because it's the letting go. It's a new level of freedom, darling. There's something that's being afforded onto you. Uranus is the sudden change, and it definitely is a transformation, darling. There's Uranus comes through with what? The unexpected. I don't know why I picked up this deck. This is the fairy deck. Not that I've got any adverse feelings towards it, but I just haven't used it in a while. Okay then. All right, divination, darling dears. Somebody's been getting a reading on you. They're getting readings, darling dears. But it also says, embrace your powers of divination, which are especially strong right now. You have the ability to see your current situation with crystal clear clarity. And again, pay attention. Because you see the tarot cards, darling dears, whatever form of divination you use, darling dears, is to what? Peek at your subconscious mind. You will get messages. But remember, stop asking the cards the same question, blood. Just like people, they get tired of it. Someone's getting a reading on you, darling dears. They're spending their hard-earned Skrilla. Asking for help, darling dears. Maybe they want to come through and ask you for some kind of help. Remember, this is the same one that either what? Put you in a bad position, saw you in the bad position and kicked dirt on you, darling dears, or was enjoying the fact that he was there. They're coming in to ask for help. Maybe they're divining when will be the best time. They're playing double Dutch, blood, right? Ask for help. Angels and celestial beings who protect everyone and the fairies say now is the time for you to ask for angelic assistance. And as I always say, if you want your ancestors to help you, you have to ask. Yes, they're your security team, and we've already spoken about you have 64 ancestors directly on hand to help you at any time, darling dears, but you have to ask. And your intention must be pure. Because karma is what? Karma ain't discriminatory, right? Somebody is what? Time for you to wish wisely, darling. Just remember your intentions. You are in what? Tip-top manifestation mode. As you've gone through some kind of life-changing lesson, darling, there's the energy of Uranus. But it's a situation that was meant to change. You had to go through this, darling dears, in order to get to exactly where you are right now. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, darling dears. It also speaks about, some of you are all about the social reform. Are you a Gen X? Fist bump. So am I, darling dears. So am I. Something to do with electricity, darling dears. Is somebody having an issue with their electricity? Get solar panels. Yeah. It also speaks about you being a natural inventor, darling dears. You are an initiator. We already see the energy of Mars, darling dears, from the 9, remember? Listen, I know what I'm talking about. I didn't forget. Use your wishes wisely to manifest your heart's desires and take practical steps towards making your dreams come true. 62 in the chat. 6 and 2 goes to an 8. 8 is the number of what? Karma, debt, and as well as money. Skrilla.com. Many people say, oh, Case, I don't care about money. That's your business. Get away from me. What's the matter with you? Unless you infect me with that wickedness. I don't live for money, darling dears, but it's energy. Money affords you the opportunity to live the life that you choose, to help out, be the humanitarian badass that you are, darling dears. Some people prefer, rather than give it to the charity, they prefer to travel to the country and actually give the physical help to the physical people, darling dears. Well, Uranus is about the sudden change, expansion. Mercury, as I said, Uranus and Mercury is the lower octave of Uranus, darling dears. So travel is definitely on the cards for you, darling dears. Okay. Right. Let's get a deck. I want a deck for you and a deck for the Marauders. What's the matter with them? Let's get a life. Okay. Yeah, seeing things from a different perspective. And again, it shows no longer what? Sacrificing yourself to situations. You've chosen to give back the wood, darling dears. Love it. I don't hate it. Posh. Clap. The energy of the hangman also speaks about a new level of wisdom that is being spiritually afforded onto you. And again, pay attention to your dreams. You're going to be hearing about someone that is in some form of confinement, whether it's the hospital, the prison, or the grave, darling dears. Okay. Hangman is Neptune energy, darling dears. Water and Neptune energy, the planet of what? Disillusionment. Someone is also a liar, someone that lied to you. This is the energy of Neptune, is the 12th house Pisces energy, darling dears. Definitely a situation that you've closed out. This is what has afforded you this new beginning. Something that somebody's involved, darling dears. And the 12th house is also about the occult, divination, which we've already seen. If you are a divinator, darling dears, a reader of sorts, remember, this craft that you've acquired is going to what? Hold you until your old age. Remember, I told you that. It also speaks about what? Moving away from a situation where you felt like you had a mental illness, or someone that you was dealing with has a mental illness. Okay then. Oh, so they had the effrontery to come into your life, darling, and they've got no certificate to say that they've seen a counselor, psychologist, or psychiatrist, and sure as she's naive, none from an exorcist. They got up there, the effrontery, darling dears. Yeah, somebody wants to travel to you, darling dears. It's been a long time coming, and it also speaks about it being slow. This person is, this particular Knight of Pentacles, they're holding the big coin. Right in front of the divination card, listen, they're paying. They're paying to find out when they can come through. And they also see with the Knight of Pentacles, what you've been doing, darling dears, it's been on a what? Slow simmer. But it's always been forward movement. It speaks about your health. It could also be, you could be studying, darling dears. You may have started a business. Whatever you've been doing, darling dears, they see nothing but slow, steady progress. They didn't realize that you was dedicated. Imagine that. They didn't see that you was dedicated. They saw that shit. They didn't appreciate it. Now they have to talk about you because they can't talk to you. We know, Bexley. We know. We know. Right? Let's give their deck a good shufti. So what's going on with they, them, and them? Trying to do the double dutch to see when they can come through with some wickedness, right? I don't know what else to call it. Skullduggery, subterfuge, bull swanky. Yeah, pick one of them, bestie. Look, it fell right into my hand. 5 of Wands, they're coming to cause confusion, darling dears. This is somebody who is also in competition with you. Some of you are sleeping with the enemy. Yeah. It also speaks about what? Them talking about you. 5 of Wands also speaks about the words being put out there into the atmosphere. They're talking about you because they can't talk to you. Like, This is trying to poke out, darling dears. Page of Pentacles. Somebody wants to come through. They want to come through and possibly give you an offer, or they may even, if you have progeny with this person, they may try to use your progeny for their wicked ends. Listen, they've got nothing to give the public. 9 of Pentacles on its face. This is someone that's in debt, darling dears. If they're surrounded by people, living in a house with people, it's not a steady home, darling dears. They're living like the matchstick boy or girl, darling dears. The way their Skrillers coming in, and they got the bloody effrontery to go and get a reading on you, and they can't even afford to pay their bills. And it also speaks about a lack of loyalty, darling dears. It also speaks about because 9 of Pentacles is also like wish fulfillment. Why? Because you enjoy your own company. You're listening to the Most High. You're creating new beginnings. This person feels stuck in a situation, darling dears. They're unable to move. This goes to 10 of Pentacles, 9 in the reverse. What did I say, darling dears? They barely got it. They barely got any Skrillers, especially none to give you, darling dears, or none to change your. Listen. The best Skriller you can ever have is your own. Why? No one can take it from you or take what they purchased with their Skriller from you. I hate those people that like to come back for their shit. Let them take it. Right? Knight of Wands, darling dears. And you have a messenger or message coming towards you. The Knight of Wands also represents somebody who is fickle energy, darling dears. Can't be trusted. Wherever they lay their hat, that's their home. Wherever they lay their panani or fatum, listen, they call it a relationship, darling dears. Yeah, if the message is coming through, but you are their karma, justice energy. Justice is also Libra, the 7th house. It was a partnership, friendship. It could have been a marriage, darling dears, a long-term situation. Yeah, you are now single and independent. And look, in juxtapose, what you got going on, easy breezily, listening to the Most High, communing with your higher thoughts. You will soon go from the 9 of Peas, darling dears, to the Queen and straight up to the Empress or Emperor, darling dears. That's how it goes. This is why, it's because why you've enjoyed your solitude. Use that time to rebuild your mental health, your financial stability, paying off debts, darling dears, letting go what no longer serves you. Just notice these two trees in the background. Again, it speaks about the duality and the balance that is coming towards you. And again, it's highlighting another 2, darling dears. 222 is what? 66, darling dears. Right? It's about you. What? It's a reminder for you to never you ever put anyone's interest or needs before your own, unless it's a baby, darling dears. Unless it's a baby or a progeny. In the look, you're good. You're good. Again, the Justice card, it speaks about you having created a level of freedom, darling dears. And whatever energy you created that freedom in, darling dears, you're still in that energy. You ain't forgotten nothing. You got the memory of an elephant. I nearly said element. Why did I say element? Freudian slip, meant to come out, darling dears. This person is now an open enemy to you, but yet they're getting what? Divination trying to come through. They need your help now, darling dears. They didn't realize that you was the power grid. Okay, base of the deck. You're holding out for true loyalty, and it also speaks about the emotional maturity that you've reached, darling dears. It also speaks about somebody you're going to, again, this could be a fated meeting. You're going to meet someone, darling dears. For those of you that are looking for a relationship, because it's next to the relationship card, the partnership card, darling dears, it could also represent a business deal, a sponsorship, a sponsor, or joining something that, I don't know, some kind of, it could be social justice, darling dears. Or maybe you're going to get invited onto a talk show, some kind of a blog. But someone is coming to, right, to put you in a different position. Remember, I told you that. Okay? Okay. So what's going on with the wicked? Stuck on you. Yeah. Can't move on, darling dears. This also speaks about a mental break. 6 of Swords. This is someone who is flighty on the tongue, darling dears. Blame shifting at me. Yeah, soulless and goalless, darling dears. And good golly and gosh, you've got the Justice in the upright. They're in the reverse, darling dears. And this is all part of whatever they done to you, darling dears. Every relationship and partnership they're going into, darling dears, there's going to be arguments, fighting, mental manipulation, darling dears, lack of support. They're going to feel locked in, watched. Yeah, because if they're with someone that they cheated on you with, darling dears, that person is like they're working for the CIA or the FBI or MI5 blood. They have to report in. I'm leaving the car. I'm walking on the grass. I'm taking my key out. I'm putting it in the door. I'm turning the lock. I'm home. And they'd be like, where have you been? Listen, they are being watched, mate. And it's a situation that they can't release themselves from. Part of their karma, which I think is fitting under the circumstances, darling dears. Remember the days when you didn't know what was going on? When you was barking at passing cars? Yeah. Dressing like Quasimodo's bestie? Yeah. Do you remember those days where you couldn't even wash your own panani or futum? Listen, you had to get and gain emotional maturity. And it also speaks about you being highly intuitive, darling dears. Because you've learned to enjoy your own company, darling dears, and realize that you can actually manifest, right? You're more calmer, darling dears. And when you're in calm and you have peace, and I also heard meditation, maybe you're meditating more, darling dears, whatever method you're using for meditation. They're not meditating, mate. They're on a knife's edge, mate. They're on a knife's edge. So what do they want help with? Why would they dare come and not? No, one question at a time. What do they want help with, darling dears? Listen, they want money, they want a loan, they want a place to stay, they want some stability. But look, even Wolfie's on his forehead. No loyalty is coming in. If you got progeny with them, even the progeny, listen, they're coming to bring destabilize your existence. Look, they come to drop every one of their soul ties, burdens on you, darling, just because you know they've been linked to succubi and incubi. Yeah. The whole gang is within them. I told you they haven't seen an exorcist. Hermit energy, darling, dears. They come with a lot of secrets, things that they will not reveal. Hermit energy is also Virgo energy, darling dears. Virgo is what? The 6th house of well-being. They've got some kind of illness on them, darling dears. Good God. They've got an illness on them. What could it be? Let's see. Hermit energy. They've been going. They may have rheumatitis, darling dears. They may have issues, old age issues, darling dears. They could have a young body, but they because of how they live their life, they're worn out from the inside out, darling dears. Energy also speaks about poor nutrition. I bet they haven't even seen a dentist. Just imagine the gingivitis up in that maw, that slash they dare call a mouth. I bet they don't even know what a water flosser is. Yeah, they'll think it was some kind of what? A cursed tool to send them back to the crevice of the devil's balls. This person ain't seen a dentist, darling. They haven't been eating right. Okay. Or whatever they was eating, it ain't good for them, blood. They're deficient in vitamins, and minerals. Lord have mercy for Jesus. If that doesn't make your legs close like this. I don't know what will, blood. No, pay your knees. They got issues, blood. I told you, and they haven't seen a dentist since before Joseph's coat was many colors. Listen, listen. They come to bring you drama, strength card on its face, and their breath stink. Imagine that. Someone want to tell you about yourself after you've healed yourself, right? Communed with the Most High, right? Found what? Feng shuied yourself. You ain't going out there giving no throat punch. No. You're not. Well, you do cuss people out still. You do. Just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you can't tell people about their bomber ass. You can. I just said it. Bomber ass. Yeah. They got issues in their mouth, blood. Poor nutrition, darling dears. And as I said, they come with the drama.com, darling dears. They come to argue and fight, infiltrate, take you down a peg or two, darling dears. I know, bestie. I know. This person will abuse whatever power you give them again, darling dears. They will bring disgrace to your door, to your cranium, to your life, to your spiritual journey and any healing that you've done. They will give you the spirit of what? Fear, darling dears. Fear. They come with the what? The serving tray of discord and what? Self-indulgence. Remember I told you that, darling dears. It's the them show. And just imagine how they want to sock it to you, darling dears. Especially if you had the bloody cheek to go off and get great and not look back. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. All right. Let's move on. This is juicy. They're coming for you, yeah? Let's use the pink cards. Oh, bestie. Whenever the elastic band breaks, it speaks about the ending of the cycle. You already ended this cycle, darling dears. What's this? What did I just say? They're coming with envy, jealousy, and hate. That dastardly duo that will get you every time. That will what? Blow back your hairline, darling dears. You'll be right back with what? A reverse friar tuck. This will come off the table. Not attracted to you. Your face. Listen, I'm so funny, you know. You're not attracted to them, darling dears. Their face makes you want to fight. What did I just tell you about fighting? I will be in the back of the courtroom, darling dears. They'll have to take me out of the courtroom, right? Because I'll be like, I did tell you, bestie, no. They'll drag me out. My shoe will come off. What else? Turned right over. Was it they hated? Oh, they hated when you spoke about your accomplishments, darling dears. Yeah, they didn't like it, right? They're tree sloths, slow moving, darling dears, and they've got algae in their fur, right? They have the T-Rex arms with the Tritarka waist. The cards ain't playing, blood. Listen to your ancestors. Right? And the best way to know that you're listening to your ancestors, you know how I knew I was listening to my ancestors? One day when I was seasoning up my fish blood, and my daughter came and she goes, Mummy, aren't you going to measure it out? This is why I need to go and live in Jamaica, blood. What do you mean? When I'm seasoning stuff, I just shake it until something from my DNA says, stop it, child, you have enough. I listen to my ancestors, right? And you are in spiritual quarantine from they, them, and for a reason, darling dears. What is this? And if they're going to try and... Remember I told you they may even try and use your progeny as a tool of wickedness. To get back in your good graces. But your progeny are not having it, blood. Especially if they're watching any of those Reddit things. You know those Reddit things that comes on YouTube where they explain life stories. Listen, the things I hear my 14-year-old listening to in the kitchen. Sometimes I like to... when I first heard it, I wanted to tell her not to listen. And I said, what? I'm not wrapping you in cotton wool. The world is real and wicked out there, darling dears. Your progeny's not having it, blood. They'll be moved around. Hey! Sorry, not sorry, darling dears. Don't feel sorry for them. Don't. I told you, wickedness will enter your house. And you'll be like, hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, here to see you again. Fist bump. All right, let's press on because this is fucking ease, blood. Let's get, what do they want? Let's see. We'll get the soft cards first so you can see that I'm not picking on them. The cards have their own mind. I'm just here to give you the messages. Don't judge me. I bury myself in my work to forget you. Lies they tell, darling dears. Didn't we just see this in our eye chakras, right? About the divination. Listen, I wasn't going to jump. I didn't mean to. Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Listen, lies they tell. Sorry, not sorry. We saw it with our eye chakras. The ancestors told us to pay attention, and we are. They've got the T-Rex arms, darling dears. You know, the short ones with the trippy talker ways. Lies, the what work? Right? So are they lying about this too? Ooh, child, the conundrums. I'll have to work it out. Really? What work? They ain't forgotten about you, darling dears. They can't have. They're getting up-to-date readings with money that they haven't got. And they want you, darling dears. What do you mean they want you? They've got a hit on you? What do they mean? Want what? They can't be wanting to shoplift any panani or futum from you, darling dears. They cannot, right? I look everywhere for you. They can keep seeking, darling dears. May you be forever covered by what? Harry Potter's cloak. May there be a Bermuda Triangle around your domicile and chariot of righteousness. May your children be what? On point, mate. You know the kind of progeny is like, what do you mean you want to slide through? I haven't seen you in a year. What do you mean? You know the kind of progeny that asks them serious questions, right? And they're not going to be put off from the questions. You know the ones when you try to talk about, nah, blood, they're still talking about the same thing. Why? They're millennials, blood. They don't forget nothing, right? The same millennials that they want to go and fight their battles in the UK. I don't know how they're going to do that, darling dears. I was looking on Twitter and someone wrote on Twitter that they're going to send a note that their mum said that they can't go. Ooh, child. Anyhow, let's press on. So they want you. They can want all they like, darling dears. What did they do when you was in their hemisphere? Let's get another deck. Where's the other one? Oh, here it is. I'm going to use the Situation Love Oracle deck because they dare to bring up that L word around us, darling dears. They're a loser, right? A misogynist or a misandrist, right? A hood-looking alfalfa. Listen, I can cuss people out, darling dears, and I will still go on with my day. Remember, they're tree sloth, they're slow moving. I told you they're doing a double Dutch. They want to know if they can break the spiritual quarantine and come through to you, darling dears, like Beetlejuice or Candyman. I know, but oh, jumped right into my hand. Right, twin flame. This is not a twin flame. This looks like old blowtorch. All right, the cards brew it out, so we're gonna run with it. We're gonna try not to draw any assumptions. It says twin flame. I say blowtorch, but we'll see what the next one is. Twin flame, yin and yang, balance, duality and union. I just heard hell will become a skating rink first. Okay. They feel as though there's some kind of flame. You're a twin. Or maybe they want to set you afire. Listen, I told you I questioned everything when it comes to the skulldugger's tree sloth. What's this? The sword and the rose. Listen, whatever they are, darling dears, whether it's twin flame or blowtorch, choose this new beginning, darling dears. It's telling what? Revelations, honor and protection, determination. Keep it popping, keep it fresh, and keep it moving, darling dears. The rose always speaks about what? Beauty as well as pain. Why? The thorns, darling dears. Their life, whatever they want to bring to your situation, which is full on chaos and destruction, right? Things like that. It's going to be full of pain, darling dears. You had to find the beauty in yourself when God decided to what? Kill the connection so they couldn't kill you. And you would be dodo dead and we wouldn't have met, bestie. We wouldn't have met. And how would you have learned that two of these and one of those means something, darling dears? It means love and light. Outrageous. You better stay determined to keep it popping and fresh, darling dears. What did I just say? Can't make it up. Why would you want to put a crack into something that's been healed? They want help. Let them go to God for help, right? And God will go like, where's my shit? I've got something here to prove. Yeah, I've got something here to prove. God will go like this with the deeds that they've done while they're asking for help. Yeah. You want me to help you with what? Leave a message with my head angel, D-Boat, the one that's always eating chicken wings. Yeah. That's what they're going to do. How else? They have to go through God, darling dears, if they want to get to you. Go through God. Right? Continue with this transformation, darling dears, this new beginning. The healing heart is what you saw, darling dears. And it wasn't easy to heal your heart and not make it go cold. You was the right package at the wrong address. Never you forget that, darling dears. God removed you from that situation for a reason, because you have purpose. And you wouldn't have known how badass you are if you stayed in that situation. There's nothing like a big cat with their back against the wall. What do you mean? That's when you get your gangster on. That's when you go into your DNS. Yes, you cry, but only for a little while, darling. If you're still crying, go to the mirror and slap it out of yourself until blood and spittle flies. Don't cry over situations that God removed you from, darling dears. It's time to party. What's this? The grounding, and again, an archway. Divine is about to give you a portal opening. This new beginning. Lighthouse stands alone, darling dears. But the lighthouse always has a light on top. It speaks about a new level of enlightenment that you've received. Time for you to what? Party. It also speaks about dates or invitations, darling dears. I already said a fated meeting is on the tableau. They thought that, listen, they need to know that if you sow injustice, you must reap calamity. That's how the universe works. People try to get away with shit, and we in the age of Aquarius. Good golly and gosh. It's fascinating to watch, darling dears. It's like a slow motion car crash. Let's get some final energies. Then we're out of here. Never you ever underestimate the power of the Most High when you choose you in every situation. Give me some more messages. Oh, this one did a forward roll, darling dears. And we get the Hangman the same way we started out the read, darling dears, in the reverse. Lean in, bestie. Lean in. This speaks about what? Selflessness, darling dears. In the face of selfishness. It speaks about someone that is coming through as a victim who will be a traitor, darling dears. Oh my, did you watch that? Have you watched that series called Traitors? My God, it was riveting. It was riveting, especially the one where they did with the Bravo housewives. Yeah, did you watch Traitors? Did you enjoy it? Anyhow, yeah, you have a traitor coming towards you, darling dears. I told you they'd get in the reading to see when they can come in, darling dears. When you're at a weak moment, to take you down, Bobby Brown, darling dears. Infect you with what? Stupidness, darling dears. Stupidness. STOOPED blood. Hangman, Neptune energy on its face, darling dears. They come with disillusionments. Neptune in the reverse is a skin peeling lawyer. I had to bring up a different voice, darling dears, from the back countries. Yeah, the north. Yeah. Want to come through and rain on your parade, but it also speaks about upgrades, darling dears. A spiritual upgrade, vacation, movement, darling dears. When we see the sun card, it's also a reminder to what? Continue to keep the past behind you like a ponytail. And again, vibrating high, darling dears, vibrating high. We've got the Nine of Swords. It speaks about some kind of worry, going on. It's on the energy of the Gemini. And again, go and watch my Gemini reading for your sun, moon and rising sign, because Jupiter is in Gemini for the next 12 months, darling dears. Gemini is about communication, listen, whatever you're stressing, darling dears, God is going to give you the answer. You're going to move away from this trauma and drama. Keep your shapely back turned, darling dears. Law 16 of the 48 laws of power. And this, to me, this looks like a new moon. This is not a full moon, darling dears. And again, if you're going to set your intention to release yourself from a situation, do it under the energy of a new moon. Why? Because you want to harvest it at the full moon, darling. This is how you keep your expectations going. Base of the deck, darling, is because you was born to win. Chariot energy. And again, travel, fast movement, something coming fast towards you. And again, it speaks about what? Paying attention to your intuitions, your discernments, your instincts. Page of Wands, you have a message coming towards you. What's this message about? Page of Wands also speaks about actively moving towards your dreams and goals, darling dears. This is a message of love, darling dear. Love? Listen, I had to do a double take. Look, who's coming through with love, lad? Hey, hold on. Let me just move this around and get a whole fresh... Who's coming through with love? The cup of love. This could also represent a birth of a child, a new relationship, a friendship. This is also my multiple streams of income card. On the Rider-Waite deck, you see the 5 streams. I know it's air, earth, fire. Was it air, fire, water, and spirit? What's the matter with me? Nothing. It's they, them, and I'm, not you or me, darling dears. As I was saying before I went off, right, on a tangent, this for some of you, this could be a new lover, a new relationship, or friendship, but it's definitely speaking about an opportunity for you to be happy and increase your abundance, all because you are choosing self-love. The energy of the cups also represents the west would lead the direction. So maybe somebody's moving from east to west, because we saw the east at the top of the read, darling dears. Wisdom, wise, maybe making some kind of logical decision in the east, moving towards the west. Okay, let's carry on, darling. There's a fresh deck. What do you mean they're coming in with love? I don't even know which deck to put my hand on, because I don't want nothing to piss me off, blood. I just don't. Why? Who's gonna calm me down, blood? Ooh. Ooh, child. Base of the deck, we have a King of Wands. This is someone coming in with passion, darling. This King of Wands is someone who is futuristic thinking. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy, sun, moon, or rising, darling dears. We see the Leo at the back, so this person is used to being in charge. The energy of the Leo, darling dears, is the 5th house. So someone is coming in to romance you, darling dears. They want to date you. The 5th house is also the house of the SEX. Notice the Fatum, and there's fire at the point, darling dears. Is it the fire because it's the fire of the strength, or the fire because they got the itchy and scratchy show? I don't know, but we gon' see. So someone with the King of Wands energy, darling dears, this is current energy, so this is going to be happening now for some of you. This is why I keep telling you, right? I know you've healed and you've got over things, and you got a little bit too comfortable, right? Stop leaving your house looking like Quasimodo's bestie. Nobody told you to go out there looking like a beauty queen or Hercules. Nobody told you had to do that. But good God, bestie. The King of Wands likes things that pleases their eye, blood. Something that gets their juices flowing. Not that I'm telling... Listen, stop picking on me. I'm not telling you to get involved with someone, but somebody's off coming to offer their cup and their other seed. Ooh. Ooh. Good golly gosh. They're coming up to offer some seed. Yeah, you getting back to your spelling now. Yeah. They're coming to offer you that, and they're strong with it, darling dears. You may want to take a risk on this situation. Okay. You may even meet them on your travels, darling. There's a vacation, movement, energy of the 2 that's been messed around. Yeah, the travel. Yeah. But the opportunity of the Ace of Cups, it could be a business arrangement, a business meeting, darling dears. This person is going to be focused on you. We also have a lizard on his chest, darling dears. When we see lizards, it speaks about change in tarot, darling dears. The salamander. Lizard is a salamander. Salamander is the fire. Yeah. What else does this King of Wands want? Right? Oh, they want to bring balance, and they've got their own Skrilla. Yeah, because temperance represents money and finances. They know how to make their own Skrilla and not waste it. They're not wasteful, darling dears. Okay. Page of Swords. This person has also got a very curious mind. They may even have prodigy themselves, darling dears. This person is always learning new things. He also speaks about balance. This person comes with the what? Spirit of patience. Also, they're prepared to wait on you, darling dears. That means you don't have to give it up, ever, if you don't want to. This person just wants to be in your energy. But golly and gosh, what do you want to be in your energy for? Because they want to be your peace. Listen, the last person that said they wanted to be my peace, I was barking at passing cars for nearly 20 fucking years, blood. And people don't even go to prison for murder for that long in the UK. Listen, but this person, this King of Wands, they said they want to be your peace, or their spirit guides are telling us that, darling dears. Will they in fact be your peace? Emperor energy. Listen, in the upright, this is somebody that likes to take charge, darling dears. 2 kings on the tableau speaks about a minor gain. A minor gain, Hierophant energy. Good God. God is good. Hierophant is Taurus energy, the 2nd house. They had some minor financial gain recently, darling dears. Or maybe you've had a minor financial gain. But trust and believe, it's about to be on the upswing. I can't make it up, darling dears. Whatever you went through, darling dears, leave it where it was. This is the energy of the 5 is lesson learned, darling dears. When we see the 5 of Pentacles, yeah, it speaks about what you've overcome, what you've come through, darling dears. You've got the key of healing, the Chiron energy. You healed a situation, right? This person is going to be extremely joyful, and it may even go to a long-term commitment, maybe marriage. Listen, I would get married again, but you got to live in your own house, right? And you need to give me 3 business days warning before we can meet up for anything, because I might be very busy minding my own business. It takes a lot of my time. I would get married. You got to live in your own house. You have to have your own money, right? You got your own life going on, darling dears. I'll meet you at the borderline. Yeah, come through Black Eyed Peas. Posh, clap. Yes, baby. Red light, green light champion. We be, darling dears. No one is going to trick us ever again. Nope. Nope and nope again, darling dears. It also speaks about being recognized for your skills, your talents. Pentacles, darling dears. Remember I said this person is going to be reading you like a book. Good golly and gosh. Knight of Pentacles, slow burn. They're prepared to wait on you, darling dears. They're going to do the due diligence. It could also be what? Turn into a business venture. This person is business minded. As are you, bestie. As are you. Someone who's about their business. Listen, that's a match made in heaven. That lives in their own house. They're not a cheater, right? They're not a liar. They're not going to give you a 2-piece, and not from the KFC. Let's get the life lessons. Then we got to go get out of here to get great. Good golly and gosh, I'll take the 2 that fell on me. But I have to show you this. We already saw the lighthouse. You being the inspiration. Pay attention to your dreams, your intuitions, and your downloads, darling dears. This is you're embarking upon a career that brings you the joy and abundance you deserve and desire. And as I said, if you're doing any form of divination or spiritual work, darling dears, this is your forte. It may have been a slow burn, but remember, divine wanted you to learn more so that you'll be able to what? Give more intel, information, darling dears. What fell on me? Listen, I can't listen. Say no more. Infinite abundance, and you're on the right path. If you was looking for a sign, here's your sign. On that note, I drops me mic. Never you ever doubt why the Most High killed that connection. Because it was going to kill you before you finished your purpose on this Malkuth. And as I always say, don't get smoked. And don't smoke yourself. From the ashes, baby. Namaste. We can't wait until we meet again on these tarot screens. Cat. Remember, pay Pay your needs, blood. Don't let no one shoplift nothing from you, especially if it begins with a P, for Panani or for Tom. Big your wave!